Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Becoming aware of something via the senses. The representation of what is perceived. Basic component in the formation of a concept. A way of conceiving something. Luther had a new perception of the Bible. Knowledge gained by perceiving. A man admired for the depth of his perception. The process of perceiving. Becoming aware of something via the senses. The perception that something has occurred or some state exists. The representation of what is perceived. Basic component in the formation of a concept. The representation of what is perceived. Basic component in the formation of a concept. Activity intended to achieve a particular sensory result. A presentation to the mind in the form of an idea or image. A presentation to the mind in the form of an idea or image. A presentation to the mind in the form of an idea or image. The state of serving as an official and authorized delegate or agent. A performance of a play. A body of legislators that serve in behalf of some constituency. A congressional vacancy occurred in the representation from California. A creation that is a visual or tangible rendering of someone or something. A factual statement made by one party in order to induce another party to enter into a contract. The sales contract contains several representations by the vendor. An activity that stands as an equivalent of something or results in an equivalent. A statement of facts and reasons made in appealing or protesting. Certain representations were made concerning police brutality. The act of representing. Standing in for someone or some group and speaking with authority in their behalf. The right of being represented by delegates who have a voice in some legislative body. An elaborated concept. Inventing or contriving an idea or explanation and formulating it mentally. An elaborated concept. Inventing or contriving an idea or explanation and formulating it mentally. An elaborated concept. The psychological result of perception in learning and reasoning. The psychological result of perception in learning and reasoning. The psychological result of perception in learning and reasoning. Cognitive processes involved in obtaining and storing knowledge. Take charge of or deal with. The general atmosphere of a place or situation and the effect that it has on people. Have faith or confidence in. Give a certain impression or have a certain outward aspect. This project looks fishy. Look forward to the probable occurrence of. She is looking to a promotion. The feelings expressed on a person's face. A look of triumph. Be oriented in a certain direction, often with respect to another reference point, be opposite to. The house looks north. Search or seek. We looked all day and finally found the child in the forest. The act of directing the eyes toward something and perceiving it visually. He went out to have a look. Accord in appearance with. You don't look your age. Convey by one's expression. She looked her devotion to me. Have a certain outward or facial expression. How does she look? Perceive with attention. direct one's gaze towards. She looked over the expanse of land. Physical appearance. I don't like the looks of this place. Appearing to be as specified, usually used as combining forms. Left their clothes dirty looking. The act of directing the eyes toward something and perceiving it visually. He gave it a good looking at. The act of searching visually. The act of directing the eyes toward something and perceiving it visually. He gave it a good looking at. Taking a small amount into the mouth to test its quality. A kind of sensing, distinguishing substances by means of the taste buds. A wine tasting. A small amount, especially of food or wine. A strong liking. The faculty of distinguishing sweet, sour, bitter, and salty properties in the mouth. His cold deprived him of his sense of taste. A small amount eaten or drunk. Take a taste, you'll like it. Take a sample of. The sensation that results when taste buds in the tongue and throat convey information about the chemical composition of a soluble stimulus. The candy left him with a bad taste. Delicate discrimination, especially of aesthetic values. Arrogance and lack of taste contributed to his rapid success. Have a distinctive or characteristic taste. This tastes of nutmeg. Have flavor. Taste of something. A kind of sensing, distinguishing substances by means of the taste buds. A brief experience of something. He got a taste of life on the wild side. Distinguish flavors. We tasted wines last night. Experience briefly. The ex-slave tasted freedom shortly before she died. Perceive by the sense of taste. Can you taste the garlic? Used with, of, or, with, noticeably odorous. The act of perceiving the odor of something. The act of hearing attentively. They make good music, you should give them a hearing. An opportunity to state your case and be heard. They condemned him without a hearing. The ability to hear, the auditory faculty. His hearing was impaired. The range within which a voice can be heard. Able to perceive sound. A session, of a committee or grand jury, in which witnesses are called and testimony is taken. The investigative committee will hold hearings in Chicago. Law. A proceeding, usually by a court, where evidence is taken for the purpose of determining an issue of fact and reaching a decision based on that evidence. Any property detected by the olfactory system. The general atmosphere of a place or situation and the effect that it has on people. It had the smell of treason. The faculty that enables us to distinguish scents. The act of perceiving the odor of something. Have an element suggestive, of something. This passage smells of plagiarism. The sensation that results when olfactory receptors in the nose are stimulated by particular chemicals in gaseous form. She loved the smell of roses. Become aware of not through the senses but instinctively. I smell trouble. Emit an odor. The soup smells good. Inhale the odor of. Perceive by the olfactory sense. Smell bad. He rarely washes, and he smells. Perceiving what a person is saying by observing the movements of the lips. The act of hearing attentively. You can learn a lot by just listening. One of the elements that collectively form a system of numeration. Judge to be probable. Be or play a part of or in. Elections figure prominently in every government program. A diagram or picture illustrating textual material. A decorative or artistic work. The property possessed by a sum or total or indefinite quantity of units or individuals. The figure was about 1,000. A well-known or notable person. She is an important figure in modern music. Alternative names for the body of a human being. Imagine. Conceive of. See in one's mind. Language used in a figurative or non-literal sense. Make a mathematical calculation or computation. A combination of points and lines and planes that form a visible palpable shape. A model of a bodily form, especially of a person. He made a figure of Santa Claus. An amount of money expressed numerically. A figure of $17 was suggested. A predetermined set of movements in dancing or skating. She made the best score on compulsory figures. A unitary percept having structure and coherence that is the object of attention and that stands out against a ground. The impression produced by a person. He cut a fine figure. Understand. He didn't figure her. Material in the top layer of the surface of the earth in which plants can grow, especially with reference to its quality or use. The part of a scene, or picture, that lies behind objects in the foreground. He posed her against a background of rolling hills. A rational motive for a belief or action. The grounds for their declaration. Hit or reach the ground. A relation that provides the foundation for something. Cover with a primer. Apply a primer to. A connection between an electrical device and a large conducting body, such as the Earth, which is taken to be at zero voltage. Fix firmly and stably. Use as a basis for, found on. Bring to the ground. The storm grounded the ship. The solid part of the Earth's surface. He dropped the logs on the ground. The loose soft material that makes up a large part of the land surface. The first or preliminary coat of paint or size applied to a surface. A position to be won or defended in battle, or as if in battle. They gained ground step by step. A relatively homogeneous percept extending back of the figure on which attention is focused. Art. The surface, as a wall or canvas, prepared to take the paint for a painting. Confine or restrict to the ground. After the accident, they grounded the plane and the pilot. Connect to a ground. Ground the electrical connections for safety reasons. Hit a ground ball. He grounded to the second baseman. Hit onto the ground. Instruct someone in the fundamentals of a subject. Place or put on the ground. Throw to the ground in order to stop play and avoid being tackled behind the line of scrimmage. A mental image that is similar to a visual perception. A percept that arises from the eyes, an image in the visual system. A percept that arises from the eyes, an image in the visual system. Perception of that which is obscure. The trait of judging wisely and objectively. A man of discernment. Delicate discrimination, especially of aesthetic values. The mental ability to understand and discriminate between relations. The cognitive condition of someone who understands. Having knowledge of. Range of what one can know or understand. Range or scope of what is perceived.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.